And welcome into the program. This is Protect and Grow Chicagoland Retirement with Chicagoland certified financial planning professional Tim Stearns, CFP, founder, president at TJ Stearns Inc., your resource, Chicagoland, for proactive guidance, advice, insight, education when it comes to your money, your finance, your investments, and your retirement planning. So glad to have Tim Stearns along with us here on the program. Tim, always a pleasure. And today, going to be talking about one of the maybe most hotly debated financial instruments, annuities.
Well, Peter, and I always like to start off with a thought of the day, and mine is there's a lot of mistakes and misconceptions when it comes to annuities, but they are a very useful tool if used correctly.
I agree, Tim. I mean, misunderstood. Like, depending on who you
Very.
ask, they are either the greatest thing since sliced bread and going to solve each and every financial woe and problem you've ever had, or they're evil to be stayed away from at all costs. I have a feeling those two extremes might hold kernels of truth in
Yeah.
certain circumstances, but the reality probably lies somewhere in the middle.
And I would agree with that. Everything in moderation. I mean, they are something that I use in my arsenal when I'm planning someone's retirement, but we don't put all of their money in there, and it's something that can be very useful in someone's retirement plan.
Well, Tim, with the misconceptions that you mentioned, what are some of the common ones that you see people fall subject to?
Well, for example, all annuities are the same. I mean, there's all kinds of different annuities out there. You have fixed annuities, fixed index annuities, variable annuities, and even immediate annuities. And th those should all be evaluated. Specific annuities, not the entire annuity category, is being good or bad. Each solves a different problem.
Is this kind of like saying all investments are good or bad?
That's fair to say. And that's why you need to look at each one and what you're trying to accomplish. Each one might serve a purpose for you, and they might not be perfect for you.
I know that there is often a connotation of having high costs.
Yeah.
Is that another misconception?
Oh, yeah. Many fixed annuities have no explicit annual fee. Many fixed index annuities have no annual fee unless you add optional income or long-term care riders. But like, for example, variable annuities often do have ongoing expenses, and those are fully disclosed to people. Nowadays it's buyer beware. You can kind of get underneath the hood and look at what you're getting from them.
So some annuities are fee heavy, where others might not have any expense at all, and we've got to weigh the specific individual contract we are looking at or considering here.
Well, you need to look at what you need the annuity to accomplish for you and then see if it's a fit.
What about the understanding, Tim, that annuities are permanent and I'll lose all of my money if I die?
Right. And I think that's a misnomer from years ago. That's typically the account value passes to the beneficiaries. If you take one payment and pass, your beneficiaries will get what's left in there. Many contracts bypass probate, which is a nice thing. Some contracts include enhanced death benefit solutions that are part of the options that are available to clients. So, these are things that you need to make sure that you decipher out what exactly you're looking them to do, and go from there.
So, Tim, it sounds like not only do you not lose all of your money in an annuity if you pass away, but there might be some leveraged value there for the purpose of death benefit and estate planning.
That's exactly right, and that's why you want to make sure that you're understanding the ins and outs of it. For me, it's a fixed income alternative to a bond. Which leads me to another misnomer is that annuities are bad investments. To me, they're not an investment. And you've talked about this before, but a hammer is a terrible screwdriver, but that doesn't make a hammer a bad tool. We're asking it to do different things. So annuities are generally designed to provide principal protection, tax deferral, lifetime income, and reduce market risk.
So annuities are an insurance product first and foremost. An investment vehicle is maybe a secondary term that is used to describe them, it might not be completely accurate if we are looking at these fixed or fixed indexed vehicles that don't have that risk of the market.
Exactly, and that's why you need to make sure that you are understanding these vehicles. When I use these annuities for what we're speaking of right now is for lifetime income.
So,
You
I
know,
mean, that would be the equivalent of saying a bank account is a bad investment. Well, it's not actually an investment at all, right?
no, exactly, it's not.
Tim, what about the thinking that I can get the same kind of income from my portfolio, from my investments?
A portfolio can generate income, but it cannot generally provide a contractual lifetime income guarantee. Mortality credits, which, this doesn't allow us time to dive into that, but those are great things for companies. An insurance company backed income that continues even if the account value reaches zero. I don't know any other vehicle that will do that. So, I mean, these are a withdrawal strategy and a guaranteed income contract are not the same thing.
So we do need to understand these misconceptions before considering an annuity. Maybe some of these are things that people get confused by. Maybe some of these are some of the items that might give annuities a little bit of that bad connotation and reputation. But we need to examine the source and the reality, right, Tim?
Exactly. And that's why you need to make sure that you're understanding of the vehicle.
Maybe the biggest misconception of all, again, is painting with too broad a brush that they're all good or they are all bad. The truth is that they are a tool that can do specific jobs. If that's the job that you need or want done, then maybe they are a tool to consider. However, when considering, Tim, another part of annuities is people might make certain mistakes with them. So, what are some of the common mistakes that you have seen made when considering or buying an annuity?
Well, let's say you're buying an annuity for the wrong reason. Questions that should come first. Do you need guaranteed income? Do you need principal protection? Do you want tax deferral? Do you want to use long-term care leverage? Legacy planning. Then buying a product before defining the objective, that would be a mistake right
Right.
there.
Over investing into a vehicle, whether it's too much in the bank or too much in the stock market or too much in an annuity, never the right place for all of your money, right, Tim?
Of course, moderation with everything. Locking up too much of liquidity, ignoring your emergency reserves, that would be some of the things that we're seeing.
Tim, what about these big upfront bonuses that I hear about with annuities? Is that
Well,
a mistake or a misconception? Is that a carrot on a string? How do those work?
Well, a retiree who chases the largest bonus may be ignoring their income payout rates, getting access to the money, their cap rates, which they cap out what you're going to be able to earn on that money, your participation rates, how much you can actually earn on the money when it's in the vehicle. Like if the market does 10%, you're only getting a 60% participation rate. Well, that's not that great. Surrender schedules, they're going to take back some of that money if you try to rip the money out of there right away. And then the financial strength, of course, of the insurer. Again, I'm going to come back to buyer beware, caveat emptor.
It seems like the bonus is marketing. It's not the reality of the entirety of the contract. And so something that we intend to be in place for 3 or 5 or 10 years or even a lifetime, maybe the thing that happens day one is not the most important thing.
Exactly. I mean, and then the next thing I would look into is, don't ignore the income rider details that go along with that. They're going to say to you, "Oh, you can get 7% guaranteed growth." Well, when can that income start? What is that payout percentage? And is it income for me or is it income for my wife and I?
Mhm.
And what happens if the account value declines?
Tim, when it comes to the bonus, when it comes to the growth rate, whether it's 7% or 8 or 10 or 5, whatever it may be, these are essentially variables in an algebra equation.
Right.
When you look at dollar in per dollar out, if our goal is to have the lifetime income in the future, what happens with the growth rate or the bonus, that is only one part of an equation. We need to look at the entire equation to get the right answer.
Well, yeah, and that's basically where the protect and grow plan comes from. We need to back in and show where the shortfall is and how much of the money that we need to put into an annuity to shore that up to make sure that we're actually, making that sure that there is no shortfall anymore by using the algebra problem.
And Tim, maybe an additional mistake here is we can sort of wait too long to get into an annuity or to create that guarantee of lifetime income.
Sure. I mean, if you're too late in life, you might be not, it might not make sense for everyone. And that's why, when we started out, that one of the mistakes people, one size doesn't fit all for these types of vehicles.
Yeah. And if we've got enough today, but the market wipes some of it away, and then suddenly we don't have enough to create the guaranteed income that we need, that might be a case where hindsight sort of bites us for the rest of our life, right?
Right. And that's why before purchasing an annuity, there's some things you should be able to answer. What problem is this annuity going to solve for you? What guarantees am I receiving? And what am I giving up in exchange for that? And then, of course, when can I access my money? And how does it fit with the rest of your retirement plan? And that's what we do with the Protect and Grow plan.
Well, before making any financial decision, take the time to understand the guarantees, the limitations, the costs, the pros, the cons, the benefits, the disadvantages, the alternatives that you have available to you. The more informed you are, the better decision you will make, ladies and gentlemen. Don't just cast something off, nor think that it is the solve all to all your problems. Consider and educate yourself on the different options that you have available, whether it's mistakes or misconceptions, misunderstandings. We want to avoid those things. And you do that through education, preparation, and purposeful, intentional, thoughtful planning. Tim Stearns here is a certified financial planning professional to help you through that. Experienced, qualified, and on your side when helping to make recommendations and to create and build your Protect and Grow written retirement blueprint. If you'd like to get that put together, that is a complimentary courtesy service offered there at TJ Stearns Inc. All you need to do is pick up the phone and give a call, 800-640-2256. That is 800-640-2256. 800-640-2256. You can also go online, tjstearns.com. That is tjstearns.com. Available 24/7 there online, and a great way to start the conversation and be in touch. Tim, always appreciate your information, the candor, the insight that you provide here on the program and helping us have a better understanding of the financial world and all of the tools that we have available.
Peter, thanks for having me.
Tune into Chicagoland certified financial planner Tim Stearns' full radio program and visit tjstearns.com for many valuable resources, including other great episodes of Chicagoland Retirement. Be sure to subscribe.
Investment advisory services offered through Cornerstone Securities, LLC. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for a particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature, not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs.